Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Xavier Smith, and today I'm going to be talking about matrices and row echelon form. So, what row echelon form is just a matrice, but you start with like 1 in this first column. It has to start with a 1, and then it'll go 0, 1, then 0, 0, 1. So you can see it's like 1 ABC, 0, 1 DE, 0, 0, 1 F. All these random letters are just random numbers, right? They don't really matter. All that matters is that you have a 1 here, then a 0, 1, then a 0, 0, 1. And what this is going to do is this is like one variable. This is X, this is Y, this is Z, and then this is like the number it's equal to, right? So down here, when you have 1, like F, right, you'll have Z equals F, like whatever that is. Like if F is 5 right there at the end, you'll have Z equals 5. And then you can plug that into this next equation, right, where you don't have an X, you have a Y and a Z. And then you can go up here and you can plug it in, like the Y and the Z, into the equation where you have the X, Y, and Z. Okay, so let's get going on just an equation. What you can do with row echelon form, like a matrice, you can add any two rows together, you can switch any two rows, and you can multiply a row by any number. Because if you multiply like this row by like 2, right, you're multiplying all these variables by 2, like you're multiplying all this by 2, but you're multiplying the answer by 2, which the answer is just this last row. So it's pretty simple. So here we'd have 1, because these are just the coefficients of the variables. So this will be our x, y, z number. So this will be 1, -3, -1, 2. And then we have 1, -2, 3, 9. And then 2, -5, 5, 1. Okay, so again, we need 1 to start, then 0, 1, then 0, 0, 1. Okay, well, I see we start and we have 2 that already have 1 in the front. And once you have 1, like at the top, you're just like, okay, I'm just going to keep that one. Just lock it in place. You're never changing it again. So I'm going to keep it how it is. All right? So now what I can do is try to get a 0 in this spot. Like try to get a 0, 1. So what I can do is I can subtract one row from the other. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to take the negative of row 1, because I can multiply any row by any number, and then add that to row 2, which is basically the same thing as subtracting the rows. But, okay, so negative, well, I can keep row 1, right? Row 1 just stays the same. But then negative row 1, this would be -1 plus 1, which is 0. -3 is 3, minus 2 would be 1. This would be 1 plus 3 is 4. This would be -2 plus 9 is 7. And then we just keep row 3. We haven't changed that. Okay? So now we have, like, coincidentally, we have 1 and then 0, 1. For some of these equations, you're going to have more steps. Like, you're not going to have a 1 to begin anything with. And you're going to have to, okay, say, okay, well, I have to multiply this equation by 1/8, and I'll get like 1 in the front, right? And then you do this little subtraction type thing. Sorry about that. These ones at the end were supposed to be 17s. I'm just going to put 7 there. And we haven't changed anything yet, so it's okay. Well, now we have 1, 0, 1, right? So these two rows are locked. Now all we need to do is get this last row as 0, 0, 1, and then the number. Okay, well, that's pretty easy. What we can do is multiply this first row by -2 and then add it to the third row. So we're going to say -2, -2 row 1 plus row 3. All right, and we'll keep the same numbers. We'll keep 1, -3, -1, 2, 0, 1, 4, 7. That's really off. Like, it doesn't look good, but that's all right. And then, okay, -2 row 1. So this will be -2 plus 2 would be 0. -2 times -3 is 6. plus negative 5. So 6 minus 5 is 1. Then there'd be negative 1 times negative 2 is 2, plus 5 is 7. And 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, plus 17 would be 13. So this would be our new thing. Okay, now we have 0, 1, right? But we need 0, 0, 1. There needs to be like 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, and keep going. So what we can do is subtract, well, like we can add row 2 and row 3. We'll have to modify row 2. But if you tried adding row 1 and row 3, you'd end up getting this 1 back, and you don't want that, right? So now we have to move away from here, and we're like, okay, well, these two don't have x variables, and we're trying to get rid of this variable, which is our y variable, so we're going to use these two rows. All right, so you're going to keep changing what rows you're using as like you go further down and further down into the problem. And beware, there's a lot of places to make mistakes here, like a lot of a little addition mistakes. There's tons of places, so just check your work and see if it looks reasonable. Okay, well, if we use row 2 and row 3, clearly we can do a negative of row 2 and add that to row 3, right? So we keep row 1 the same. That's locked. Row 2 is locked. And then row 3 is what changes. All right? We are doing negative row 2 plus row 3. Okay, negative 0 plus 0, still 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Negative 4 plus 7 is 3. And negative 7 plus 13 would be, I believe that's 6. Okay. Now what? Well, we have our 0, 0, but we need our 1. And like I said, you can multiply any row by any number. So to get this 3 to a 1, we can multiply by a third. So if we say 1/3 row 3, we'll get 1, negative 3, negative 1, 2, 0, 1, 4, 7, 0, 0, because 0 times a third is still 0. 3 times a third is 1, and 6 times a third is 2. So this is our x, y, z, and then this is like our number right at the end. So we have z, because like this is 0x plus 0y plus z equals 2. So z would equal 2. And then you'll plug it. You're like, okay, this would be x plus 4z equals 7, right? This is x plus 8 equals 7. So this is x equals negative 1. And then you go over here, and you're like, oh, sorry, that's a y. That's my fault. Just change that to a y. And then we have, okay, x minus 3y minus z equals 2, right? Okay, so x, negative 3y would be plus 3 minus z would be minus 2 equals, that would be equals 2. I don't know what I'm doing over here. 2, we like simplify that, that'll be 1, and if we move the 1 over, we get x equals 1. So x equals 1, y equals negative 1, and z equals 2. So remember, with row echelon form, you want like this 1 in front, then 0, 1, then 0, 0, 1, and you'll end up getting, okay, this is like 1, 2. And this means like the z value up here is equal to 2. And then just go back and keep plugging it in. Okay, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Keep checking your work, and thank you.